If you're looking for deep, punchy, high quality bass while retaining crisp and clear vocals, keep watching because I think I found an earphone that embodies all of these characteristics without breaking the bank. My name is Tom and welcome to On a Student Budget, and today this is going to be my full review of the TTPOD T1E earphones. Now before we start this review, I just want to let you know that there are three versions of these earphones. The version I have here is the TTPOD T1E earphones, which is the bass enhanced version or enhanced bass version. There's also a TI version, which is a more balanced sounding version, and there's also a TIS, which is basically the TI, which is the balanced version, but with an inline remote, one button remote for Android and iPhone controls. Now I got these earphones off of Alien Express for about $30 to $40 approximately, and normally they retail for about $60 to $70, and they can be found on Lend Me Your Ears, I think, and pendantaudio.com. And I'll put the links to where you can get these earphones and where you can find more information about these earphones in the description below, as well as my full written review over at HeadFi. In terms of design, these TTPods are very reminiscent of Sennheiser's IE800, which is their flagship earphone, which is priced about $1,000, and the JVC FXT90s, which is priced about $150. So these TTPods are definitely much more affordable in comparison to the aforementioned earphones. However, these TTPods here shares a lot of characteristics with the JVC FXT90s. And sometimes I refer to these TTPods as mini JVC FXT90s because both of them are dual dynamic driver earphones. And what this means is that each of the earpieces hold two dynamic drivers, which is very unique in its own right. This means that the TTPods here are a very unique and a very atypical earphone because most earphones at this price range has only a single driver. So I think that's really cool that this has been implemented into this earphone. So in terms of actual design, these earphones have a very unique, a very spacey, astro, kind of sci-fi looking design. And I think it's very unique and very different from the typical earphones you see every day. So they come in a number of different vibrant colors as well. And you can get them in clear or in the solid black. So in the clear, you can actually see the actual internals of the earphones and what's going on the inside, which I think is really cool. So actually going in the colors now, the colors come in clear, clear blue, and the clear purple / pink that you see here, and also in the solid red and the traditional solid black as well. So you can definitely find one to fit your personality and your taste as well. In terms of build quality, the housing of the TTPods are an all plastic construction that feels very lightweight. However, the earpieces don't feel as solid as, say, the Sennheiser CX 3.00s or the RHA MA600Is, which uses materials that are a little more denser in general, and I review both of these earphones in my channel, and I'll put the links to the annotation in the top right and left corner of this video. I think they're actually built very similarly to other Chinese earphones that I've owned, which is the Havi B3 Pro 1 and the VSonic VST 3Ss, which again I reviewed at length in my channel, and I'll put the links to the annotation to those reviews in the bottom left and right side of this video. So in terms of the actual cable, the cable is very well relieved and it's very nice aesthetically because it continues with this sci-fi and spacey kind of silvery color as well. However, it carries a lot of memory to it and it feels very stiff. And as you see in this picture, I just rested these earphones on my table and they've already kind of coiled up into kind of a ball. And it terminates in a rather long and thick straight angle jack, which will definitely stick out of your devices. However, there's enough room to get into thick smartphone cases as well. Now, in terms of comfort, this is a section that's always very hard to comment on because comfort will vary from person to person. So in terms of the actual TTPods, I found that there are a number of reasons and number of factors that prevent these earphones from being the most comfortable experience, and I talked about this at length in my first impressions video, and I'll put the link to that video in the annotation to my finger right here, next to my finger right here. So just to summarize basically what I said in that video, these TTPods have a large housing, so those with small outer ears may not find this to be the most comfortable experience, and they also have short and very wide nozzles as well, so these earphones will sit shallow in your ear. And it took me a lot of ear tips and a lot of patience and a lot of time to actually find the right ear tips to fit me. And I finally settled with the Brainwave S0 ear tips. And these ear tips are a little bit longer in terms of its length, and their size is a little bit larger than what I'm used to. However, if you don't find the right ear tips, you will find that the actual earpieces or the edge of the earpieces would be rubbing up against your ear in a little bit more of an uncomfortable manner. So overall, I would say once you find the actual right ear tips, the comfort is average. Now, in terms of isolation, the TTPODs are a fully sealed design. However, as stated before in the comfort section, there are a number of factors. So the big housing, the short and wide nozzles, which makes these earphones sit more shallow in your ear. So I think the actual isolation is just about average. Now, in terms of sound, these earphones have been called a number of things. They've been called V-shape, which is an emphasis in the bass and emphasis in the treble with a scoop in the mid-range, or L-shape, which means that there's like an L right here and there's emphasis in the bass and there's flat or relatively neutral mids and treble, or balance, which is just balance across the bass, mids, and treble. I think that it's a combination of all of those, and I think it's more leaning towards the V-shape really. And I think that there's definite emphasis in the bass, and there is a scoop in the mid-range, and there's a little bit of a peak in the treble, but the peak in the treble is nowhere near the emphasis in the bass. So I think that these earphones are very good for someone that likes bassy music but still wants crisp and clear vocals, as I stated in the earlier part of this video. So the bass is definitely the highlight of these earphones. It's definitely the most prominent and most forward aspect of this earphone, and I think south of $100 you'll be hard pressed to find a higher quality bassy earphone than the TTPOD T1Es that you see here. So the bass here is very deep, it's punchy, it's tight, it's fast. The bass is not going to satisfy bass heads in terms of the actual quantity, but it's just fantastic, and I think it's very reminiscent of the VSonic GR07 bass editions, which I have as well. And I think in comparison to those VSonic is more textured, it's more controlled, it's less emphasized in the bass overall. But I think if you're someone that's into bassy music, these TTPODs will definitely be hard to beat. Going into the mid-range here remains very clear. However, my biggest drawback on the entire mid-range, I would say, is because I think there's quite a severe dip which affects the actual body of the vocals. So as I stated before, they do make vocals more thin, and I think they make them a little more coarse sounding overall. In terms of treble, the TTPODs have a little bit of a peak in the lower treble, just a little bit, just to prevent these earphones from sounding dull, and it gives them a little bit of a crispness, a little bit of energy to the actual music. However, it rolls off after that. So these earphones have a more of a darker sound signature, which is better for long-term listening sessions, and it's better for your ears, so your ears don't fatigue after that. So these earphones are missing a little bit of extension in the treble, and it's missing a little bit of air. As a result, the soundstage is more intimate and it's more of an in-your-head experience. In conclusion, I think that the TTPODs are kind of a little bit of a mixed bag. I would recommend them if you're looking for affordable option that is very clear and very bassy as well, and you're just looking for a very high quality sound. However, there are some caveats, and I stated this before, and it's the comfort and the fit, so you definitely have to have a lot of patience in actually finding the right ear tips to actually fit you. And even then, sometimes these earphones just may not fit you depending on the actual shape of your ears. That aside, I think that if you are someone that's going to be interested in this kind of sound signature, and I think it's a very competent and a very good sound signature, especially for their price, I can recommend the TTPOD T1Es. So I hope you enjoyed that review. Please like and subscribe to this video and channel if it helped you guys out. If you have any questions about these TTPODs, or if you have these TTPODs, and let me know what you guys think about these earphones in the comments below. Share with your friends. And I'm on Facebook as well, on facebook.com/honeststudentbudget, and I'm going to be posting a little tidbits on what I'm doing there and little projects ahead of what I'm going to be doing. So until then, I'll see you guys in the next video.